everyone, and welcome back to Emkin Gardening. This is part 2 of setting up our irrigation. In our first video, our part 1 video, we went into pretty extensive detail on all of the items and equipment that we were going to need to set up our irrigation in our front yard in all of the flower beds that border the property in the front. Now, we were able to set up the majority of the bone structure in that video, but we quickly realized that we were losing light. We were having a hard time seeing. I know the light in the video seemed a little okay, but for us it was getting dark pretty fast, and we actually got rain as well. So we had to kind of pause, which was actually nice because now in part 2 we're able to get a little bit more in detail and close up on specific areas with all of those equipment. So in today's video, we're going to be showing you how we're going to individually put emitters on all of the plants kind of in this corner. We are going to finish setting up the bones of the property in the front, including why we set up 2 rows in some of them and how that doesn't work in some of the locations as well. And we're going to give you close-ups on the placement of the 6-inch emitter holes and how we make sure we place them to allow maximum saturation for the plants around it. It's kind of nice, you get a little in-depth close-up in this short and sweet video. So the first thing we're going to do is take a closer look on how we're going to be setting up these individual emitters. Let's go. Okay, so if you remember, we have our black blank distribution line that's running all the way along this back hibiscus bed right here. How we're going to individually run water to our hibiscus and to our honeysuckle is by putting a stake emitter right next to the root ball. So it's super easy. We have our Felcos. We're just going to, I know it's intimidating, but we're going to actually cut the line. We are going to put, in this case, a cross fitting in, and that is because we're going to be running a line to the hibiscus, which is right here, and to the honeysuckle that's right there. So one part of this stake is going to go back in this hole. The other is going to reconnect it to the other line. And these 2 parts right here are going to run new blank distributing tubing to those individual plants. So it's gonna look something like this when we're done. So like we said in the previous video, it is a lot easier if the tube is warm, but you can pretty easily, if you just pop gloves on, connect the 2 pieces even without it. Okay. So now that we've kind of connected the main lines back together, we're going to run another piece of tubing, a short one, straight to the root ball of our hibiscus and put our stake in the ground. I've kind of already attached it. In the end, we're gonna cut probably about there and connect that fresh cut to that open fitting and stake it right by the root ball. Another great thing about these emitters, these stake emitters, is that there's actually an adjustable amount of flow that you can use. So for example, say we're still playing around with time and the other locations need maybe like 30 minutes of water, but that's too much coming from here. We can just turn this down for less flow and the 30 minutes would work fine, and vice versa. If we need more, it's so easy for us to just turn it up and allow more water out. So nice and easy. We're gonna cut it, measure it, cut it, stick it in, And then when we do our final test, we'll make sure that the water flow is going nicely. So I'm actually going to stake it in first. And then I'm going to measure and cut. So I'm going to cut it. Okay, and then we'll do the exact same thing to our honeysuckle. So the only thing that's going to be a little bit different fitting wise as we go is sometimes instead of using a cross fitting, we're just going to be using a T fitting. And this is going to be for instances like our butterfly bush when we get there. There's nothing on the other side that needs to be watered. So we would just put the T fitting there without that and then run it to the butterfly bush. But let's set up the rest of these emitter holes first. Here we go. It's super easy to just connect individual emitters to all of those plants, and you saw how easy and convenient that was. When we add plants to this bed, it's going to be just a cut, a nice T fitting, and then put that emitter right to that individual plant. Now, if one day this bed gets really big and full, we might switch it out for the 6-inch emitter holes, but until then, the singular individual ones are going to be fine. When we got to our pine bed, we teed off again into a back row and a front row with 6-inch emitter holes. That is because this bed gets very full. And from this point on, so into the crabapple bed, into the long skinny front bed, we have basically 2 rows of planting, a back row and a front row. So to make it very convenient for us, not having to put individual ones this time, we ran a back row of the 6-inch emitter holes and a front row of the 6-inch emitter holes. Now in our last video, we did not quite finish the skinny bed, so we will be finishing up that whole run in this video. That design pattern is going to stay the same until we get to the weeping cherry bed. That one's going to take a different type of design. We're going to try a spiral design in that bed because there's not very structured planting, like front line, back line in that bed. They're kind of all circulating around that weeping cherry tree. So we're going to try something different. One of that strand is going to be 6 inches emitter holes, and the other one is going to be the 12-inch emitter hole. We might put that one on the outside and then the 6-inch one kind of rolling on the inside, or vice versa. We'll figure that out once we get there. Before we do that, I want to just do a quick close-up look for you all to see how we placed our 6-inch emitter holes and why. So let's take a closer look. Okay, so we're in the front skinny flower bed. You see our alliums on either side right here. We have the 6-inch emitter holes staked down with our 12-inch stakes right here. Now I wanted to show you our placement with these emitter holes. We put them as close to the root ball as we could with the plants that are already here. That way we knew for a fact that those would be getting water. But we also had the space here knowing that we were going to be planting dahlias. So in between each of these alliums, there's going to be dahlia plants. There's also going to be zinnia plants in the middle here. So we wanted to make sure that we had the emitter hole in a spot that could soak up a dahlia and that could also drain and soak up for the zinnias. Same thing with the front row right here. We're going to have super petunias coming out this way. So we have our second row going right kind of in the middle, so our super petunias can get water and also supplement for those zinnias that are in the middle flanking. So that is the setup. We tried as hard as we could to get the emitter holes right at a really good placement for our plants and make sure that there were emitters in the locations to saturate the soil in the planting spots that we are yet to plant. So that is a close-up look on the emitter holes. Now let's finish this bed and try that spiral design. Of those 50-foot long strands that have the 6-inch emitters. That's all we had to use for this whole project with the 2 rows. We finished the 2 rows in the front yard, and then we decided to do a loop, kind of like a circular ring, one circle and then another circle in the middle, all the way around. So we have our outer circle and then an inner circle. And then with that same strand, we were able to just knead it to the back row of our front bed. And then we put 2 stoppers at the ends of both of those. And that completed the whole circle of our front yard. We're very excited. Now all we have to do is test it out. Okay, so as you can see, everything is working. There are some areas that we are still going to tweak because it isn't to our exact liking. And just a friendly reminder that a lot of this will evolve when we are planting in all of these spaces. So just keep that in mind when you're laying down your irrigation, that it's not necessarily permanent. But using those stakes, it's super easy to just take them out and make it into something else. So we hope you liked this video. We're going to put all of our equipment down below in this video as well. And we're going to link our part 1 at the end of this video too. So you can check out the beginning process where we go into all of those really specific details. And then you have the finished product here. So if you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to Emkin Gardening because these beds are going to be filled up in the next one. Have a great Saturday and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.